Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw. I'm here with Ronen Nissenbaum, who's president and CEO of Dan Hotels in Israel. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with Dan today and where it's going. And this is Insider Travel Report. Now, Ronen, your big news, you have some big news. First, you're actually moving beyond Israel. You have a hotel that you've just opened in India, right?
That's right. We've just opened our first international property in Bangalore, India. It's a suburb just outside of Bangalore called Whitefield, and the brand is called Den.
Not Dan, it's Den. Okay.
It's Den. It's like a den at home where you kind of are lounging and enjoying yourself. It is a very, very strong five-star property, very comparative to our Dan brand in Israel. And we opened that one up in December. It's a 230-bedroom hotel, but we're still in the last few phases of opening. As in most hotels, you open a section of it up and others. And by the end of April, we will have had the remaining rooms open up. And our rooftop restaurant, Lila, will also be open towards the end of April. So by the end of April, we'll have the property completely open and 100% ready.
Now, is this going to be a brand extension for you, a Den brand as well?
Absolutely. I mean, this is an opportunity for us. Obviously, we're creating our international presence with Bangalore, and we see the Den as another brand that we could utilize in order to have more hotels either in India or internationally. It's not an Indian brand, it's another brand to add on to the King David brand that we have in Jerusalem, the Dan Hotels, the Dan Panorama, and the Dan Boutique brands that already exist.
So this would be a brand that it would not be in Israel, or just it would be internationally?
I think it would be more an international brand, yes.
Okay. And you're not stopping there. You're about to open yet another brand, right? Tell us a little bit about that one.
I think this is probably the most exciting brand for the Dan chain, and it's been a few years in the making. Having lived through different brand creations in the other companies, I know how difficult it is and how everything moves so quickly within the market. And this brand is really straight up for the millennials. Very young, very efficient. Rooms are about 94 rooms. This is the property that we're opening up in Tel Aviv, Israel.
And what's the name? Sorry.
It's called Link Hotel and Hub.
Link Hotel and Hub. Okay,
that's right.
And that's very millennial.
It's a link, exactly, and the hub is all about a communal area where everybody sits and works and eats, and meeting rooms all together. Something that would kind of remind you of kind of WeWork from a working perspective, but the hotel itself will be based all about mobility and mobile and convenience. So check-in and check-out, like all the big boys, will be done on your phone, and opening the door will be done with your phone, but on top of it, we'll be doing a lot of things that none of the brands worldwide do today, where your app will be able to, or your hotel, your mobile phone will be able to control the temperature in your room, will be able to control the lighting, the TV, room service. Basically, your phone, you don't need anything else in the room but your phone.
Yeah, well, I guess I must need a millennial to help me with my phone, because I can't even control my phone as it is now. But if it's going to control my room, that'll be interesting. I'm sure I'll be calling for help. But now this is going to be another brand extension. You envision doing more of these Link hotels?
Absolutely. Once we open this one, and it's more of an R&D project for us, a research and development, where it's really outside the scope of the typical hotels that we have built and run over the last 70 years within the company. We'll have a few learnings and decide what makes sense. Is it a 150-room hotel? Is it a 90-room hotel? We're doing some really novel concepts when it comes to service, so we're going to tweak that. And once we've got it right, I would say within 6-12 months, then we're going to try to roll it out either in Israel, but I see this brand very capable, because it's also a conversion brand. It also could be, so existing properties that can convert to it, could be totally new brand. It could work in potentially the middle of the city. It's very good if you do two brands, i.e. take another brand and have the Link as a second brand within the building. It's incredibly versatile, and I think that will make it very will make it a bigger growth engine for the Dan hotel chain internationally.
So all over the place, and actually that area with new millennial hotels seems to be where a hot area right now for hotel development, right?
It absolutely is, and the first reactions we've gotten from people that we've talked to about what we're going to be doing, and I don't want to say more about it just from a competitive edge. There's a few other things that you'll be able to do that today you cannot do anywhere else. It's not going to be something that will be forever, but there will be leading, and I'm sure there'll be a few others following in, and I think it'll be exciting when we do announce it in April or May when we open the hotel. We'll be telling about the first phase, the second phase, and the third phase of the capabilities of what you'll be able to do in the hotel, which I think it's wonderful to be in a situation where you're pioneering. Yeah. It comes with a bit of risks and a few that you could falter a few times, but I think it's very exciting to be at the leading edge, and I think it makes total sense to do it in Israel. Israel and Tel Aviv, for those that don't know, is the second largest silicon.
Oh yeah, huge technology corridor.
And some of the great companies that we today enjoy, whether it's Mobileye that was bought over, whether it's Waze that we all use in our map, it's Israeli technology, and we have amazing minds in Israel with all the startups, and why shouldn't we have the most advanced technologically apt hotel in the world? And that's what we're planning to do.
And it looks like you're going to get it pretty quickly. Now, I couldn't leave you without talking about some of the classic Dan hotels, the obviously the King David. What's going on with the existing hotels? Any renovations? Anything's coming up?
Absolutely. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised when I started to see the amount of investment that we have done in the past, but what now is planned in 2018. We're spending far more than the typical 3%, 4%, 5% that you would see in a typical hotel FF&E reserve where you put in that kind of money. And here we're spending anywhere between double and triple that in our hotels this year. A lot of the money is going to be going into Dan Eilat, where we're renovating our rooms. We've renovated, almost completed now, the Dan Panorama in Haifa. We've spent some money at the King David. We just last year finished the Dan Acadia. We'll be spending on 100 rooms at the Dan Tel Aviv. As of October this year, we'll be renovating there, and I've seen the model rooms, and they're spectacular. So there's a lot of money being spent on our existing properties to really bring them up to scratch, to be able to compete with some of the new brands that are coming to Tel Aviv and to Israel. We've got some, I'm not going to give any airtime to any of my competitors, okay, but there's a lot of new brands and boutique hotels that are opening up in Israel, and we've just got to up our game to be able to compete in that market.
Well, I'm lucky enough to have visited many of your hotels, but many years ago, including a number of the ones you've mentioned. I stayed at the King David, I've stayed at the Dan Tel Aviv, stayed at the Dan Panorama, and they're marvelous hotels back then, and it sounds like you're going to make them even better.
Absolutely, that's the plan.
Okay. Well, Ronen, thank you very much for filling us in and all that's going on with Dan Hotels, including 2 new brands, which is huge news, I think, and giving us an update on your existing properties. I look forward to seeing them one of these days very soon.
Thank you very much.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.